Okay, so we're ready to talk about functions in particular. So remember, a function is a relation that pairs each domain value, that's each x value, remember we just talked about domain and range, that's each x value has exactly one range value. So each x value has exactly one y value that it's in relation with. So we are asked next to give the domain and range of each relation and determine whether the relation is or is not a function. So first we have to list the domain and range, and then we determine whether each domain has exactly one range. If it does, it is a function, and if it does not, it is not a function. So we've got to decide that. So let's go ahead and look at the first values. So the first value, A, has just a list of ordered pairs. So since it has just a list, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and pause the video and create a table with the x and the y's, and then we're going to list the entire domain. Okay, so as you see, I created a table. You should have also. So notice I've listed all the x values and all the y values. We need to come up with our domain. So when we write our domain, we need to write them inside of brackets. Those are those squiggly things that you'll never get to write. So we're going to get lots of practice. So go ahead and draw a bracket for your domain. And that's these, whee, like that. That's not beautiful, but good enough. So we want all of the x values for our domain. So what are x values? There are 3, 3, 4, and 3. We don't need to list 3 that many times. If 3 is included, we just need to list it once. So our domain is going to be just the values 3 and 4. So go ahead and write your domain down. The squiggly brackets 3 and 4. That's our domain. So now that you see how we're supposed to write it, go ahead and write your range. That includes all of the y values. So write your squiggly brackets and write your range. Go ahead and pause the video and do that, and then unpause it to check your work. So our range you should have here includes -2, -1, 0, and 1. So now we need to determine, is this a function or not? So I want you to look at it and I want you to decide, does each x value have exactly one y value? So pause the video and I want you to decide, does each x value have exactly one y value? Okay, so are you ready for the big reveal? Function or not a function? We're going to find out. Ready? Uh-oh, that was not a big reveal. No, this is not a function. So let's think about a reason why. I want you to say, I have a sentence starter here for you. This is not a function because. I want you to give me a reason why. So pause the video, write a sentence. Why is this not a function? Why am I saying that each domain does not have exactly one range? Okay. And you should have a sentence written down, so you can check it against what I wrote. My sentence was, this is not a function because the domain, the x value of 3, has multiple ranges, their y values, that are in relation to it. So this domain 3 had the y value of -2, 3 also had a y value of -1, and 3 had a y value of +1. So this cannot be a function because the x value of 3 has multiple y values associated with it that are in relation to it. Okay, so let's try the next one. This next one, notice, is our mapping style of a mapping diagram. And we have these x values matched with these y values. This represents our domain here, and this represents our range here. So let's go ahead and list our domain and range. So pause the video, and I want you to do both your domain and your range, and actually go ahead and determine if it's a function too. So decide those 3 things, pause the video and do that, and then unpause it to check your work. So here we go. Notice I've listed my domain. That's all of the x values. There should be a comma in between those, not a decimal. And I've listed my range. There's only 2 y values. So this is a function. I know that some of you might have said no because there were only 2 y values listed. But let's review the definition of a function. A function is a relation that pairs each x value, each domain value, with exactly one y value. It doesn't say that the y values cannot have different domains that they're in relation with. All that it cares about is that -4 is only paired with 2. It's not also paired with another number. And -8 is only paired with 2. It's not also paired with another number. So each of these